And welcome to the Aaron Katzman Show. I'm your host, Aaron Katzman. We speak for your life, your money, and your investments. And as always, we're coming to you from the spiritual and soon-to-be financial capital of the world, Jerusalem, Israel. If you like this content, please hit the like button below. And if you've not yet done so, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. So I know nobody's in the mood, right? Here in Israel, we're in the middle of a war. Everybody's sort of preoccupied. Everybody knows someone or has family member or knows someone who has a family member who is actually fighting. Or God forbid, like we had somebody who was killed, who was murdered in the savage Hamas attack against Israel. Nonetheless, we just turned over another month and we're in November now. November means we're getting close to the end of the year. And I know you don't have the head for it. I don't really have the head for it, and it's my job. But it's time to start thinking about what you need to do financially for the end of the year to make sure everything's set up correctly. And you take advantage of certain opportunities that you may have in order to make things more efficient from whether it's a tax basis. Of course, I'm not an accountant, speak to your accountant, but from a tax basis, an investment basis, there are all kinds of reasons. So the first thing you want to do, start getting down, is if you're in Israel and you're an independent contractor, you want to make sure that you put some money into your what's called Keren Hishtalmut. There's a certain level you can put into where it's tax-free contribution, and you get a tax credit, actually. I'm more correct for it. So that's something that you should for sure take advantage of. If you've got accounts here in the US, now is the time to start thinking about it, at least. I mean, you've got 2 months, but you don't want to wait until the last second, because the holiday season is going to be upon us before you know it. You want to make sure that if you have capital gains or capital losses, that you offset, meaning you take losses against the gains that you might have realized over the course of the year, and vice versa. If you've taken losses and you have some gains in your portfolio, maybe you can take those as well, just to be efficient. Use up those losses. Make sure that your portfolio becomes more efficient from a tax perspective. I was speaking to somebody recently who had they bought a biotech company which pretty much went under, and they had a big gain in a regular S&P 500 ETF, which they've held for a long time. I said, you've already have this loss. Why don't you just take it? You can sell the ETF. It pretty much matched up. Go figure. I'm not just saying that for this video, right? For this podcast, but it happened to pretty much match up equally, the loss and the gain. And I said, you can buy the ETF back in 30 days. There's what's called a wash rule. 30 days. You can't own it in the United States. Israel's different. It has to be in Israel. It has to be out of your possession for 1 day, but in the US, it has to be out of your possession for 30 days in order for it to count. Okay. And then you can just rebuy it. And what you've ended up doing by doing that is you've reset your cost basis on that ETF, which you're going to buy and hold anyway for the next 20 years, significantly higher, which ultimately, whenever the time comes that you're going to sell it to fund your retirement, to fund your kid's wedding, whatever it is, you won't have nearly as much tax to pay. Again, these are topics that you really need to discuss in depth with your accountant. If you also have a financial advisor, it probably pays to conference them in as well, so everybody's on the same page, right? You want your accountant, the person who's handling your finances, to be in sync together so that you can be as efficient as possible. The end of the year is also a good time just to review your portfolio. Make sure that it's allocated correctly. We've had quite a volatile year. We've had a pretty volatile last 2 years, right? Where markets still haven't gotten back to where they were 2 years ago. People who've got fixed income portfolios have gotten slammed as well. So now's a really good time to maybe just, you haven't done it in a while, rethink your goals, rethink your needs, and then have a look at your portfolio and see if it's allocated correctly to match what your goals are, what your needs are, both short, medium, and long term. That's a very, very important thing to do. And now is the time to do it. If we need something, to give us a little bit of a kick in the rear, the fact that the end of the year is approaching fast is maybe what we need to do it, to get ourselves in gear. And no, again, trust me, I know that your mind is somewhere else for those of you in Israel. And this is not high on your priority list, money, but make sure that you take advantage of these things, you take care of these things before the end of the year. Otherwise, it can be costly. So everybody should be well. Israel should be successful in its now offensive. Everybody should be praying for the soldiers who are fighting, praying for those who are still kidnapped to be released and to be safe, for those who were injured in the initial attack, and soldiers who have been injured since the war started. Our thoughts and prayers with you and with your families. May Israel be victorious. May we all know no more sorrow, and we should only hear good news from one another. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll speak to you soon.